blown away, and I read about it in this book, and I just feel so privileged to be able to have you bring it to life, and it all makes sense to me. And you asked me one question, and it was, why do you think this is falling on deaf ears? I think people are scared because it's so raw. And I think a lot, like, I'm not very religious. I was born Italian culture, Canadian. I was raised Catholic school. And then I question, is there really a God? I mean, look at all the suffering and the pain. And am I very religious? Not really. Do I go to church? Twice a year. I'm a godmother. One of my best friends made me be her son's godmother. So there's value to religion, but I feel like people are so scared of religion. And I'm wondering, like, and I want to help you with this, with helping spread the word, because I believe in all of this stuff you're talking about, meaning, purpose, inner calm. It's hard. It's so hard to emotionally detach. And I want to ask you that when we record, but this makes sense to me. And I feel like people may not see it credibly because of the religion angle, but it's more than just religion. It's
not
about
religion, yeah. I'm not talking about survival mechanism.
Right.
You know what? Let me tell you what. Okay. Right now, there is a big clash of civilization, clash of culture. Now here's something very interesting, okay? The main cultural barrier, the main cultural barrier to spiritual value, to faith in God, is secularism. Secular.
Yep, secularism.
So Enlightenment of the 18th century help us in terms of science and technology.
Yep.
But there's a cause. The cause is the eclipse of the soul, eclipse of spirituality. So remember the story about Adam and Eve? You may not, you treat it fairy tale, but it's very, very important. According to the tale of the cultural tale of fairy tale, Adam and Eve, God said, you eat everything except the fruit of knowledge of good and evil. If you eat the tree of good and evil, then you will die. Okay? And then carefully, okay? God said, of all things, but there is a forbidden fruit. The forbidden fruit is that you have to know that you are a creature. I'm a creator. If you eat that fruit, that means you deny me. You cut relationship with me. You're on your own. You're on your own, the spiritual death. You're so proud. You say you're so. Your man is the final judge of everything. You can do everything with science and technology. You don't need me. Nietzsche is atheist, but Nietzsche said, if God is dead, it'd be horrible. It'd be horrible to mankind. If God is dead, then anything is possible. Anyone can do anything. That's why we're Holocaust. That's why we're Hitler. That's why we're Mao Zedong. That's why we're all the crimes and atrocities people done to people. There's no God. You do anything you want. The consequences. So when people deny God by eating I know everything. I'm the final standard. Man is the final standard to judge everything. When that happens, we destroy ourselves. Because we're no longer the Chinese way, the Oriental way, karma. Karma means that that's a generation, there is a spiritual principle. You do bad thing, you pay for it. Not in this life, even next life. There are always consequences. Oh, I'm smart, there's no consequence. No consequence, look at the mess we are in. Look at the mess we are in. But remember that we are a creature. When we play God, we are courting disaster. That's why even atheists, even Camille, Sartre, at the end, they all acknowledge God. At the end, Sartre being converted, Camille said that it's far better for me to live as if God exists than there's no God. Life would be horrible if there's no God. You read the story about the miner that buried 13 miles than Earth.
Yeah.
You know the story about the Thai cave. The children got trapped in a cave.
Yep.
They're rescued.
Yep.
Depend on technology, but also depend on prayer. The whole nation prayed. The miner prayed. It's their faith that gives them hope, give them hope.
Kept them alive. Yeah.
It's faith gives them hope. So that's why people are hurting themselves when they say, oh, we don't need God. Even God doesn't exist, we still need to create God for our own survival. Even if there's no God, we still need to create a God concept for our mental health, mental safety. So that's why people ignore me, people ask about God. They don't realize that all cultures survive because they believe that they have to please God, and seek God's help in every culture. So that's why the Muslims are all upset. Because American used to be God-fearing country. Now American is godless.
It's resonating with me. I'm thinking, and I agree with you. I think it's because people don't know what to make of that, and I'm wondering, like, can you be faithful without believing in God?
Of course.
Okay, I want to answer that question,
Okay.
and I feel like a lot of people have lost faith because of modern capitalism and everything that you said, technology, right? Everything.
Yeah. You have to be. Jordan Peterson said something. When people present him, he said, you have to live as if there's God watching you. So that will help you. That God will watching you, know what you're doing. Chinese people say, 天知地知我知. The Chinese people say, the sky God know what you're doing. You will do it in secret, but God will punish you. You cannot get away. The idea that God will punish you will function as a deterrent to do awful things to other people. Otherwise, people can poison other people, can kill other people, can kill million people, or I'm so powerful, nobody can do anything to me. That's what happened. They think that they when they have power and do anything they want. But there's always the law of karma, the law of cause and effect. You do bad things, you reap punishment.
you reap the consequences. And you know, Dr. Wong, I love it that you're explaining the 4 triangles, and I love that you're bringing the EPP to life for me because I've just been reading it. But I'm wondering too, and I'm going to give this some thought, and I'm going to send it to you in advance, the proposed questions that I would love to ask you when we're recording.
Sure.
But you're making me think, and I'll send that to you by next week, but I'm going to think about it this weekend. You're making me think about, I think we need to talk about faith. And I think a lot of people have lost their way. And I think that then comes the inner torment and the anguish, right, that we live with.
Yeah. So that's what I believe, my friend. Yeah, they believe that as if God exists. Okay.
Yeah.
You need to have faith. As if God exists. The most horrible life is that nothing to depend on, nothing for protection. Here, at least God. They're saying that there are no atheists in the trenches. When you're fighting the war with bullets flying over you, God protect me so that I can return home, see my wife, see my children. When you're in trenches, you cry out that God protect me. It's even atheists in the language indicate that implicitly they believe there is a high power somewhere.
Yeah. And I think we've lost our way. And I think we've just become so, like you said, individualistic. You know, we're
proud
and so selfish. And I love that this book was written through a COVID lens, because coming out of COVID, I have observed so many changes in people that I don't like. I can't change them, but they've turned inward. They only think about themselves. It's a dangerous space to be in. And I think we're going to answer some pretty fundamental questions that are changed.
Good. I look forward to that. Okay.
I'm so excited.
And I need your help to spread the word.
Yeah. I'm going to help you spread the word.
Okay.
And I feel, and I'm going to send you, so I'll send you the questions, Dr. Wong, next week.
Good, okay.
And I'm going to send you another article. I'm going to send you like a news article that looked at the problem with the wellness industry. And there's all these fads and meds and yoga and burning sage and candles, but that doesn't fix anything. What fixes well-being and mental health is the things you just said. Getting back at the basics, fixing our relationships, taking accountability. And I think people need to be reminded of it.
The basics, the three triangles.
This triangle, I love it so much.
Three triangles.
It's the triangle.